Hello guys, welcome back to Rise Tales. Last Adventurers is the 10th story. This is the Versant. Now, this is actually a really interesting story. How do we go with this? So, we set ourselves in Saddleworth Moor in 2009. Home, the famous place for the Moors murders, of course, in the 1960s. Between 1963 and 1965, I think, would have been. There's been talk of copycat murderers going around because a lot of walkers, campers, hitchhikers, and various other people have sort of disappeared on the moors, really, without a trace. No evidence at all. The police can't do much about it, even though they've done and searched and investigated different places. There is something strange afoot. So our protagonists will basically end up there because they find these sort of one of these sort of the only pubs in the middle of nowhere, like an inn, and basically to stay there for a bit, of course, stay the night, of course, just to imbrue more bitter, I think, because it's a regular thing, really, with the protagonists. They always tend to go on with just trying to get different types of bitter, really. Have a nice sit down, have a nice drink, and everything else. It's all still in the arses, really, to be honest. But when there's people, when I find about these people have been missing over the moors, they tend to have a little search along with a bunch of farmers and discover that there is tunnels in the moors. Like someone's been boring holes, but they're quite massive ones, and no rabbit has ever done that one. In terms of holes, really. So they go down and they end up in this underground base-like area. And its inhabitants are humans that have adapted to plastic and metal parts, commonly known as the Cybermen. Cybermen in this story. So this is a Cyberman story, quite an old one. I've had this since the fan series, of course. How it came about was I went to a farm many years, quite a number of years ago. But the place where this farm, where it's situated, is in the middle of nowhere, absolute nowhere, barren land entirely. No life at all, strangely. Just barren wasteland of green, of fields, endless fields. Really fascinating, of course. So I thought, write a story like that. That'd be pretty interesting. The Versant is sort of type of hill, really, to be honest. So I thought, it sticks, really. I've always liked the idea of something to do with the Moors murderers, of course, and just taking advantage of that sort of murder adventure and just think, just glorify it with its body horror and everything else, and also its intrigue. You think, there's people who are actually influenced by Myra Hindley and Ian Brady. No, not really. That's not the case. People tend to get fooled by that. Really, they think, it's by would it be a family member killing a family or something like that. But no, it isn't. So yeah, pretty dark stuff. It sort of becomes aliens in a way. Sort of afterwards, when they're in the tunnels and try to escape from the Cybermen. Now, the Cybermen are actually based on designs by a guy called Paul Gerard. If you ever type up Cybermen Paul Gerard, you might be surprised what he's got, in terms of monster design. Actually really good. There's two different kinds. You have the sort of the early versions, like the early Mark 1, I think, that are sort of very sort of 10th Planet-esque type stuff. And then you have I say the Mark 4. Yeah, Mark 4, which are sort of based on the 80s Earthshock-esque Cybermen. So, yeah, pretty dark story. One bit involving while searching in the tunnels, of course, they find a border collie that's still alive, but except its paws have been cut off, and it's sort of wandering around on limbs and very much on its stumps, really. Very horrific stuff. This is one of the farmers' sheepdogs that just went missing, really. Livestock, you have elements of gory-esque stuff, like a meat room full of livestock, just ripped apart, different bits, shreds, hanging from hooks, really. It's just quite. So that's what the Cybermen have been doing. But also they've been converting walkers and trespassers, hikers into Cybermen, really. So that sort of thing. And of course they plan to invade from outside the moors. And it all becomes like that, really. Even though these Cybermen are sort of a bit weak, really, in terms of immunity, still the main sort of weakness is gold, of course. So they use gold bullets, really. So a sort of type of gold bullet, and that's all works, really. Just bits and pieces, but they're sort of like half-baked, they are. You mean, you know, so they're still human and still act bits of differently, of course. You know, they have a bit more power to them, really. A bit more strength, but they have like emotions and also face the anger and everything else. Think of a shard, that's like a shard from Series 12, if it's something like that, really, but made that like a group of Cybermen, just like that. You know, it'd be really interesting. And that's really about it, really. So with the Versant, it's still kept its name, of course, and it's still an old fan story that I've written as well, part of an audio series that never came to be, unfortunately. So that's it, the Versant. That's just a standard Cyberman story, just with the Moor's murders thrown in for a good measure. It's like that. Yeah, pretty interesting. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I'll see you for the next video, and goodbye.